One severe leg cramp at night can put a senior in the hospital. It's not just the pain. That sudden, violent spasm can throw you out of bed, cause a fall, and even lead to a fracture that takes months to heal. For many older adults, that's the moment life changes, when confidence fades and every step feels uncertain. If you've ever been jolted awake with your calf locked so tight it felt like it might tear, you know the fear that follows. And if your legs already feel weaker than before, each cramp is more than just discomfort. It's a warning sign you shouldn't ignore. The good news is, you can take control. Today, we're revealing the top 7 vitamins and minerals proven to stop nighttime cramps, rebuild leg strength, improve circulation, and keep you moving with confidence, day and night. Imagine waking up pain-free, walking without stiffness, climbing stairs without hesitation, and going to bed without fear of that sudden midnight pain. That's the power of the right nutrition. So whether you enjoy gentle walks in the park, light gardening, or simply want to sleep through the night without cramps, this video is for you. Before we start, tell me, when was your worst leg cramp, and what did you do? Share your story in the comments so others can learn from it. And don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our most important health tips from Senior Health Daily. Let's protect your nights, your legs, and your independence. Together. We'll begin with the vitamin that quietly decides whether your muscles stay relaxed or seize up without warning. Vitamin D. You've heard it's good for your bones, right? But here's what most men over 50 don't realize. Without enough vitamin D, your legs can lose strength faster than you think. Have you noticed it's harder to climb the stairs than it used to be? Or maybe you're more wobbly getting out of bed in the morning. That's not just old age creeping in. That's your muscles struggling because the nerve signals aren't firing like they should. And yes, vitamin D plays a big role in that. As you get older, your skin produces less vitamin D from sunlight. Combine that with spending more time indoors, and you've got the perfect recipe for weak, unsteady legs. And yes, more nighttime cramps. So the real question is, how much time do you actually spend in the sun each day? Enough to fuel your muscles, or just enough to walk from the car to the front door? The science is pretty clear. Men with healthy vitamin D levels tend to have stronger muscle fibers, better balance, and quicker reaction times when they stumble. That means fewer falls, fewer injuries, and fewer nights waking up clutching your calf. It's not just about bones. Vitamin D helps your fast-twitch muscle fibers react instantly when you trip or shift your weight. Without it, your legs can feel slow, heavy, and unresponsive. Ever stood up in the dark and felt like your legs just didn't want to move? That's a warning sign. The good news? You can turn this around. Get outside for 15 to 30 minutes of direct sunlight most days. Morning or late afternoon is best. Add foods like salmon, mackerel, fortified milk, or even egg yolks. And if your doctor says you're low, a supplement, usually 800 to 1,000 IU a day, can make a difference you'll feel. Imagine waking up, stretching your legs, and not feeling that sharp, breath-stealing cramp. But here's the catch. Even if your muscles are strong, if your body's missing the mineral that keeps them relaxed, those cramps can still strike. And that's exactly where we're headed next. Now, let's talk about the mineral that works behind the scenes every time you move: magnesium. If vitamin D gives your legs the strength to stand, magnesium gives them the ability to relax. Without it, your muscles can seize up in an instant, and that's when you get those brutal cramps that wake you out of a dead sleep. Ever had one so bad you had to jump out of bed, hopping around, trying to stretch it out while your partner's asking if you're okay? Here's the thing most men over 50 don't know. Magnesium levels drop quietly over time. Medications like diuretics or acid reflux pills can drain it even faster. Add stress, sweat, and a diet light on nuts, seeds, and leafy greens, and you've got a recipe for nightly muscle rebellion. So let me ask you, how often are you actually eating magnesium-rich foods? And when was the last time you had your levels checked? Studies show magnesium helps keep nerve signals calm, so your muscles don't misfire in the middle of the night. It also plays a role in keeping calcium in your bones where it belongs, instead of letting it build up in soft tissues and joints. That means less stiffness, fewer spasms, and smoother movement. The difference when you fix a magnesium shortage can be fast, sometimes within days. Men who used to wake up 3 or 4 times a night with calf cramps suddenly find they're sleeping straight through. The easiest way to start? Add foods like almonds, pumpkin seeds, spinach, or black beans into your daily meals. If you need a supplement, look for magnesium glycinate or citrate. They absorb better and are easier on the stomach. But if you've got kidney problems, you'll want to talk to your doctor first. Because here's the twist. Even if your muscles are relaxed and ready, if the nerve signals controlling them are weak or slow, you can still end up on the floor. And that's where our next vitamin comes in. If magnesium is the muscle's peacekeeper, vitamin B12 is the messenger that makes sure every signal gets through. Think of your nerves like electrical wires. B12 is the insulation. Without it, those signals from your brain to your legs start to short circuit. And when that happens, your muscles don't get the right instructions. That's when you feel heavy, unsteady, or like your legs just don't respond fast enough. Ever stood up in the middle of the night, taken 2 steps, and had to grab the wall because your balance was off? For men over 50, this isn't rare. Your stomach produces less acid as you age, which means you absorb less B12 from food. Add in common medications like metformin for blood sugar or PPIs for heartburn, and your B12 tank can run low without you even knowing it. So here's the question. If your cramps aren't just muscle but nerve-related, how would you even know unless you checked? Research shows low B12 is linked to slower walking speeds, poor coordination, and a higher risk of falls. And falls at our age? They're not just inconvenient, they can be life-changing. The fix is often simple. Foods like lean meats, fish, eggs, or fortified cereals can help. If your levels are really low, your doctor might suggest a high-dose supplement or even injections. The good news is, when you correct a deficiency, many men notice their legs feel lighter, their steps more confident, and yes, those night cramps start to fade. So imagine this. Your muscles are strong from vitamin D, relaxed from magnesium, and now your nerves are firing like they should. You're halfway to cramp-free nights. But here's the catch. If calcium in your body is going to the wrong places, like your arteries instead of your bones, you're setting yourself up for a whole new set of problems. And that's exactly why the next vitamin might surprise you. Now here's a vitamin most men don't even have on their radar. Vitamin K2. If vitamin B12 keeps your nerves firing, K2 decides where calcium ends up. And that matters more than you think. Picture calcium as a delivery truck. Without K2 giving directions, some of that calcium ends up dumped in the wrong place, in your arteries, in your joints, instead of in your bones and muscles where you need it. Ever woken up with knees that feel stiff and locked, even though you weren't doing anything the day before? That could be calcium building up where it doesn't belong. Here's the kicker. Strong bones aren't just about avoiding fractures. They anchor your muscles so they can contract and relax without strain. And K2 helps make sure the calcium you're getting from your diet or supplements actually strengthens those bones. In fact, research shows K2 can lower the risk of fractures and even reduce the frequency of nighttime leg cramps in older adults. When was the last time you even thought about K2, let alone made sure you were getting enough? You'll find it in fermented foods like natto, certain aged cheeses, egg yolks, and liver. And if that's not your usual menu, a supplement might be worth talking about with your doctor, especially if you're already taking vitamin D or calcium. But here's an important heads up. If you're on blood thinners, you need medical guidance before you boost your K2. When you get it right, something changes. Your legs don't just feel stronger, they feel more stable, more responsive. You're less worried about tripping, less likely to wake up with that knife-like cramp in your calf. But even if your calcium is going to the right place, there's another piece of the puzzle. having enough calcium in the first place. And that's where we're headed next. So let's get into calcium. You've been told about it since you were a kid. Drink your milk for strong bones. But here's the part they didn't always explain. Calcium isn't just about keeping your skeleton from snapping. Every single time you take a step, stand up from a chair, or roll over in bed, calcium is triggering your muscles to contract. Without enough, your legs can feel weak, shaky, or even lock up mid-movement. Ever tried to stand and felt that sudden stubborn cramp grab your calf before you've even taken a step? For men over 50, calcium balance is trickier than it used to be. Your body doesn't absorb it as efficiently, and if your diet's light on dairy, leafy greens, or certain fish, you might be running a deficit without realizing it. Add that to the natural bone loss that comes with age, and your legs are working harder just to keep you upright. So here's the question. Are you getting enough calcium from your plate, or are you just hoping your bones and muscles will somehow keep up? Here's the twist. More isn't always better. If you overload on calcium supplements without the right partners, like vitamin D and K2, it can end up in places it shouldn't, causing stiffness or even kidney stones. That's why aiming for about 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams a day, mostly from food, is a smarter move. Think yogurt at breakfast, sardines or tofu at lunch, and a side of bok choy or kale at dinner. When calcium is in the right range, your muscles respond faster, your balance improves, and those late-night cramps don't have the same grip on you. But here's the thing. Even the best bones and muscles can betray you if the electrical signals they depend on start to misfire. And that's exactly what happens when you're short on this next mineral. Now let's talk about potassium, the mineral that keeps your muscles and nerves speaking the same language. Picture your muscle cells like tiny balloons filled with fluid. Potassium helps control how that fluid moves in and out, keeping everything balanced. When your potassium levels dip, those balloons can't hold their shape. That's when you get those sudden, crushing cramps, sometimes just from pointing your toes under the covers. Ever rolled over in bed and felt your calf knot up so hard it made you hold your breath? Potassium drops can happen for a lot of reasons. Maybe you're on water pills for blood pressure. Maybe you sweat more than you think during yard work. Or maybe you just don't get enough from your meals. And here's the part most men miss. You can't just start loading up on supplements. If you've got kidney issues or heart concerns, too much potassium can be dangerous. So when was the last time you actually had yours checked? When your levels are right, your muscles fire smoothly, your reflexes stay sharp, and those cramps lose their edge. You can get it naturally from foods like bananas, oranges, sweet potatoes, beans, and spinach. And yes, a plain baked potato with the skin has more potassium than a banana. Add a little of that to your day, and you might notice your legs feel steadier, your sleep less interrupted. But here's the catch. Even if your fluid balance is perfect, there's one more vitamin that quietly powers your muscles, repairs them after strain, and even keeps inflammation in check. And most men don't realize they're short on it, until their legs start telling them loud and clear. Finally, let's talk about vitamin B6, the quiet worker most men don't even think about, but your legs notice when it's gone. B6 helps your body use the protein you eat to build and repair muscle. It also helps make the red blood cells that carry oxygen to every muscle fiber. Without it, your legs can tire faster, feel heavy halfway through the day, and take longer to recover from even light activity. Have you ever walked across the yard, sat down, and thought, why do my legs feel like I just ran a mile? There's another layer to this. B6 helps keep inflammation in check, which means less stiffness when you wake up and fewer sore spots after you've been on your feet. Low levels can even mess with your nerve signaling, making your steps feel unsteady or your muscles slow to respond. So here's the question. If your cramps aren't just from weak muscles or bad circulation, could missing B6 be the final piece you've been overlooking? You can find it in chicken, fish, like salmon and tuna, bananas, potatoes, and chickpeas. Most men can get enough through food, but if your diet's limited or you've got digestive issues, you might need a little extra from a supplement. Just remember, more isn't always better. Too much for too long can backfire and actually hurt your nerves. When you've got enough B6, something changes. Your muscles don't just feel stronger. They recover faster, they respond quicker, and they don't complain as much at night. And now that you've got all 7 nutrients on your radar, the question becomes, how do you put them together to finally take back your nights? So here we are. 7 vitamins and minerals that can change the way your legs feel, move, and rest at night. Vitamin D to keep them strong, magnesium to help them relax, B12 to keep the nerve signals sharp, K2 to steer calcium where it belongs, calcium to power every step and contraction, potassium to keep the balance just right, and B6 to fuel and repair them. Think back to that moment at 2 in the morning, clutching your calf, gasping from the pain, wondering why it keeps happening. Now picture the same night a few weeks from now. You roll over, stretch your legs, and instead of that knife-like cramp, you feel nothing but comfort. How different would your mornings be if you could get out of bed without wincing? How much more would you enjoy your walks, your yard work, or even just standing at the kitchen counter talking to your family? It's not about overhauling your life overnight. It's about making small, smart changes, adding 1 or 2 of these nutrients into your routine, checking your levels, paying attention to what your body's been trying to tell you for years. And here's the thing, you don't have to just live with night cramps. You can take control. So here's my challenge for you. Pick one thing from today's list and start this week. Maybe it's eating more magnesium-rich foods, getting a little more sunlight, or adding a serving of potassium-packed veggies to your plate. Then come back and tell me how it goes, because your story could be the one that helps another man finally sleep through the night. Your legs carry you through your life. It's time to give them what they need to carry you well, day and night.